I want winners. I want people that want to win.
You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
You got to put your money where your mouth is, Pete.
It's not gambling advice. Colby, we're finally on the right side of a bet. We're in a good mood because we just came off the White Sox through the first 5 innings, but this is not gambling advice. Wednesday, May 18th. That's Colby Olson. I'm Peter Apple. And today we are breaking down live odds on the division. We're about 22% of the way through the season. Finally, time to take a back look at these divisions and see if there's any live bets that we can pounce on. Colby, how are you feeling? We finally won one. It's been a tough stretch, but we had a decent day yesterday and we're finally getting back in the groove.
They say that the best time to fade a bettor is after he wins, and the best time to tail a bettor is after he loses. So we've been losing like crazy the last week, but that usually signals that there is, good stuff on the horizon.
The thing is also too, we went 23-5 in 28 picks over about a 2-week period. And then the next week we went 6-15 through 21 picks. And I went live on TikTok explaining don't chase losses. This is a long season. This is a marathon. There are 162 games left. Like, we've played so many games so far, and it seems like we've been in the thick of it for a while, and yet we're only about 20% of the way through. This is a day-by-day thing. Things will get better. We're going to hit another hot streak, but you can bet your ass that we're going to hit another cold streak as well. It's all about riding the wave.
It's a roller coaster.
Last year we were plus 15.67 units, and I do think that we're going to be positive this year.
That's the crazy thing, though, Peter, is that even though we've lost a lot the last week, you're still up, close to 10 units, right?
Close to 10 units, and that's what a hot streak can do. A hot streak can take you all the way to the top and then all the way to the bottom, but we're measured, we're calm.
Plus 9 units so far is pretty damn good, though, man. I would still, we have a cushion room, which is nice to know.
Mm-hmm. Even our guy Arm said that I bought myself some bad days. Mm-hmm. that no matter how many bad days I have, there was plenty of good days to make the entire bankroll at least positive. But recently we haven't been hot, but that doesn't matter because we're starting to get hot. Right now, let's start breaking down the divisions, and then we're going to talk about some World Series live betting odds as well, because we even said pre-record, there's some blowouts right now. And let's start in the NL Central, where the Milwaukee Brewers are minus 330 to win the division right now, followed by the Cardinals at plus 240, Chicago Cubs at plus 3,500, Pirates, Reds. What? You want me to read you the odds? They're not going to win. Plus 15,000 for the Pirates, plus 30,000 for the Reds. Colby, are you putting down a dollar to win 30 grand on the Reds?
On the Reds, that would be comparable to Leicester City winning the Premier League back in 2016. So I don't think so. I do not think so. This is just a dead favorite. Minus 330 for the Brewers, plus 240 for the Cardinals. I believe this is, even shorter odds for the Brewers than it was preseason. Yeah. The Cardinals were around plus 180, I believe. I don't really have much faith in this Cardinals team to win the division. I think they have a chance to win, to make the playoffs. But this lineup doesn't do enough damage. This pitching rotation doesn't instill enough confidence, especially for a team starting Jordan Hicks. How do you feel?
So we spoke to Katie Wood, the Athletic, a while ago, and she noted that the Cardinals are very reluctant to trade their 3 best prospects. That's Nolan Gorman, Matthew Liberatore, and Jordan Walker. If they are not willing to do that, that means they will not get a big-time player at the deadline. And as their team is now currently constructed, I agree with you. I think they're a good team. I think they have a shot at the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to win this division. This is just a don't bet for me, because I'm not laying another 3.3 units to win 1 unit on the Brewers at minus 330. And I just don't think the Cardinals are going to win this division. And the odds, if the Cardinals, you were giving me plus 500, maybe something juicier, maybe I'm thinking about it, but a plus 240, the value is not good enough for me because I don't believe in the Cardinals. And I'm happy to note that one of the best bets of the year from us in terms of over under win totals was the Brewers over 89.5. And they're well on their way to getting that.
It's shocking to me that I look at the Cardinals at plus 240, and then you go down the list to a team like the Rays in the AL East, and they're plus 650. And I know the Yankees are good, but you're giving me much, much better odds to pick the Rays to win that division than the Cardinals to win their division. I think I'm taking the Rays above the Cardinals, especially at that value.
Do you want to just break into the AL East right now that we're on the Rays? Might as well, because the Yankees are currently minus 210 favorites, and they have the best record in baseball and the second best run differential to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Actually, the Dodgers have been losing lately. That might have changed since we
They're
just
down
talked.
3-0 right now.
Yeah, right now they're down 3-0 to the Diamondbacks. So that don't check me on that stat. That might be wrong currently. Toronto Blue Jays are plus 290, Rays are plus 650, Red Sox are plus 3,000, and the Baltimore Orioles are plus 1,000. So you just spoke about the Rays being at plus 650, and it's interesting because I think this is my favorite bet currently out of all of them. I've been saying on the Just Baseball show, and we've been saying on Not Gambling Advice hundreds of times, the Yankees are incredible right now, but they will go through a cold streak. It's just how the Yankees operate. They're going to be really high when everybody in their lineup's hitting, and then they're going to hit some times in the summer where nobody's hitting, and they're going to start losing. The Rays are going to get Shane Baz back. They've also proved that they will make deadline acquisitions with Nelson Cruz coming over last year, that they will do something like that. I think not only are the Rays going to be right up there with the Yankees, but now that they're willing to make moves, I think the Rays could still win this division. And at plus 650, that value is something that I'd way rather jump on.
Yeah, it's shocking to me that the Rays sit 5.5 back of the Yankees and are long shots to win this division, especially. The Rays aren't even
playing that good.
I mean, you're telling me that the Rays are not, at least even caliber to the Toronto Blue Jays at plus 290. But the other thing with the Rays is that they don't have a terribly tough schedule remaining. They have a middle of the pack schedule remaining, as do the Yankees. But they're going to have a lot of winnable games down the stretch. And the Rays just feel like that team that they might not sweep a lot of series, but they're always going to win 2 out of 3.
And the Rays always play in their division very well. They beat up on the Blue Jays. I mean, they just beat up Manoah and Gausman. They always beat on the Yankees, and they can beat the Red Sox. So going into September, late September, when they're facing each other, kind of similar to the way it was last year when the Yankees, Blue Jays, Red Sox, they were all fighting it out with the Rays at the top. We could see something similar like that, but you're a Red Sox guy. How you feeling about the Red Sox at plus 3,000?
The Red Sox at plus 3,000, I don't feel good about winning the division at this point. I definitely think the Red Sox can still make the playoffs. There's a lot of time left in this season. And like you went on your hot streak, all it takes sometimes is to go on one hot streak. Last night, they just had their first real clutch moment of the season, it felt like. Xander Bogaerts hits a mammoth home run to really blow the game open. Trevor Story has his first Red Sox moment with a towering home run. And that's the team that the Red Sox were last year. Every time they needed a big hit, they came through. But this season, they've started 0-6 in extra inning games. They're 3-7 in one-run ball games. And you just have to feel like those tides are going to flip, right? A team can't go 0-6 they can't go 0-20 in extra innings the whole season. It just doesn't seem like that's going to happen. I think the Red Sox can make the playoffs, just not win this division.
I agree. I wouldn't bet on the Red Sox. I think the bet there is the Rays. And I also, I was thinking about the Blue Jays, but just the value isn't good enough for me there. I still think that they can win the division, but I think it's going to be down to the wire with the Yankees and the Rays. Not good enough for me there. Would you consider anything about the Blue Jays, or probably not?
I'm not considering it their current value, but I will say that Yusei Kikuchi has looked very solid in his last 2 starts, and that's huge for a team that really they lacked that like 2 or that 3 and 4 starter in the rotation because Berrios has struggled so mightily. He gets another start tonight. I'm curious to see how he bounces back because if this rotation is 4 deep with the occasional, fill-in guy in that 5 spot, maybe it's Hyunjin Ryu. I have questions about him. But I think the Blue Jays can do it. They just need to find one more arm in that rotation. That's going to.
We just kind of bounced around these divisions. So next we'll do the American League Central and the NL East. But before we talk about those 2 divisions, and then we'll move on to the next 2 divisions after that, which is the NL West and the AL West, I want to talk to you guys about Prize Picks, because Prize Picks is the sponsor of Not Gambling Advice, one of the best sponsors in the world. And the reason why they're so great is because I keep finding Nerfies at even value on Prize Picks. That's the great thing about Prize Picks, is when you're on the app, you have to parlay them. So it's not something that I'm like, oh yeah, you should hammer. And you know me, guys, I'm not a huge parlay guy. I play around with these for fun, but it is so much fun. And we've been winning too, because we get better value on some things that we might not normally take on another book. For example, if you told me to parlay a negative -150 Nerfie and another negative -150 Nerfie, maybe I'm not so inclined. But if they're both at even odds and we're getting great value on them, that makes me that much more inclined. That's what Prize Picks can give you. And in our episode description, there's a link there. You get a full deposit match for using code JustBaseball. So check out that link in our episode description. Prize Picks, it's a prop builder, and all the props always have better value. That's why we wanted to jump on Prize Picks, because if we're going to do props, we want the best value, and that's on Prize Picks.
Peter, AL Central. Quite the division right now. White Sox still the heavy favorite, even though they are not leading this division right now. Minus 115 to win the Central. They came into the season at minus 220 favorites to win this division, and for good reason. The teams behind them were the clear, 3, 4, 5 teams. The Twins, plus 160, they're leading this division right now. I'm intrigued by them, and behind them you have the Guardians at plus 700, Tigers at plus 3,000. They look like one of the worst teams in all of baseball. And then the Royals at plus 4,500. Anything you like here?
So I already have a large bet on the White Sox to win this division. That was one of my biggest bets of the offseason. And now I'm looking at it thinking, wow, I put it at minus 200. I really wish it was minus 115 right now, but it is certainly not, and deservedly so. But there's a reason that it's still minus 115, even though they're middle of the pack right now in pitching, and they're below the pack in offense. This team will hit up. They've been out without Yoan Moncada for a lot of the season. They've been without Lance Lynn the entire season. Andrew Vaughn has been dealing with some injuries as well. Jose Abreu doesn't look exactly right in the box. I was listening to them on the broadcast. It's not the same Jose Abreu that's letting the ball get deep, but we did just see him get 2 hits, letting the ball get deep in his last matchup. So again, Luis Robert is a guy who hasn't gotten fully hot yet. Even though he's hitting over 300, I don't think he's gotten fully hot yet. There are plenty. Yasmani Grandal, I'm just going to keep going. 176 average. I mean, it's an anemic team right now that will not be representative of who the White Sox are at the end of the year. If I'm going to place any bet, it's on those Minnesota Twins at plus 160. But to me, it's either going to be the White Sox or the Twins. And I'm personally already on the White Sox. So I don't want to just bet on the Twins now. But I know if you don't have a White Sox bet, you're probably looking at the Twins.
I'm looking at the Twins, but I actually found another line earlier this morning that was not Twins to win the division, but Twins to make the playoffs. And it was even, minus 110. I really like that bet because they've gotten off to a hot start. And the pitching has impressed me. Joe Ryan has really stepped up as a, top of the rotation arm. I wouldn't say he's an ace, but he can hold down a rotation. Josh Winder has stepped up. Chris Paddock went down with an injury, which is concerning. They're going to need another arm to really step up, but Sonny Gray is always reliable. The bullpen's been very solid. And I like the depth that this lineup has, especially without Carlos Correa playing right now. They're still managing to win ball games. Royce Lewis has stepped up 125 WRC plus since he's come up. And it's impressive that Royce Lewis has stepped into the majors when we've seen all these other rookies kind of struggle through their first 75 plate appearances. He stepped right in and excelled immediately. You have to think that Royce Lewis, when Correa comes back, is going to stay in this lineup somewhere.
What I will say, though, is why I don't like that bet. The only reason is, if they don't win the division, are they going to get in as a wild card over the Angels, over the Rays, over the Blue Jays? I don't think so. That's why I'm thinking the only way they win this division, or the only way they make the playoffs, is to win the division. So if I'm going to bet on it, it's going to be that plus 160 for the value, because I don't see them making the playoffs if they don't win the division.
That's fair. I just think that the minus 110 versus the plus 160 gives you at least that wiggle room. Peter, aside from that, Byron Buxton right now is playing like the best baseball player in the world.
Absolutely.
11 home runs in 24 games.
I said it on the Just Baseball show. He's one of the greatest players I've ever watched. And I have my father, I have our PR guy, Adam, some of the older generation, not to be mean, but some of the older generation, they are saying that I'm crazy and I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm like, well, just watch him. I'm not saying that he's going to have this amazing career. I'm not even saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but just turn on the TV, watch a Twins game, watch him in center field, because one of the greatest defenders I've ever seen. Now with the power, I mean, he's got 40 home run power and he's one of the fastest players in baseball. Everything about him screams 80 grade tools. What am I supposed to say? When I watch him, he looks like one of the greatest players I've ever seen.
It's true. And I was comparing last night, and this is a good segue over to the AL West if we want to talk about that next. Jordan Alvarez reminds me, I've watched so much David Ortiz in my life. He reminds me of David Ortiz, but better. Which if you went up to your average 55-year-old dad from Boston area and you told them that Jordan Alvarez was David Ortiz, but better, they might slap you. They legitimately might slap you, but it's true. Jordan Alvarez is that much of a freak. And I think he might be the most feared hitter in baseball in the box outside of Mike Trout.
What?
He's top 5. He's a top 5 hitter in baseball, Peter.
Okay, give me your top 5 then.
You have Trout, you have Judge, you have Soto. Legitimately, 4 might be Jordan.
Vladdy.
Jordan's better than Vladdy.
You'd rather have Jordan as a hitter than Vladdy?
100%.
Why?
The numbers back this up, Peter. He has the second xWOBA in the league, and
You're
he
just
doesn't
saying
strike
right
out.
now. Because like last year, Vladdy was way better. So we're taking this April to May sample because of the xWOBA and saying he's better.
I would say that it was close last year, even still with Vladdy. Vladdy had a crazier 166 WRC plus. Jordan was below that. But I am saying, yes, for the next 5 years at the plate, I think I might take Jordan Alvarez over Vladimir Guerrero Jr. It's close. I think there's the conversation. If you want to put Vlad 4 and Jordan 5, fine by me. But right, like that's who's after Jordan.
I mean, Bryce Harper's pretty good.
He is pretty good.
Ronald Acuna Jr. is pretty good. Fernando Tatis Jr. is pretty good. Trey Turner is pretty good. There's a lot of dudes.
Not Trey Turner.
I'm not saying I love
on.
Jordan. I think Jordan's gonna be a Hall of Famer, but it's
better
like
hitter than Trey Turner.
We'll see. We'll see. We need to see more because
Bryce Harper's fair. I'll definitely put Bryce above Jordan, but even still, man,
Ronald
it's
Acuna
close.
Jr.?
They're in the same territory. I'm telling you, they're in the same territory hitting wise.
Okay, that's a different conversation. Like in the same territory I can get with, but like definitive, he's second. Like, come on.
No. Top 10. Top 10.
Let's break into the AL West and let's talk about my bookie. So in the AL West right now, we have the Houston Astros as the current favorites at -240, with the Angels at +230, Seattle Mariners at +1200, Rangers at +9000, and the Oakland Athletics at +20,000. I will not be putting $1 on those Oakland Athletics. I already have a ton of money on their under for the whole season, and that is not going very well right now. But I still think that they're going to go on.
They're going to lose so many games.
It's going to get
at the second half of this. At the second half of this season, they're losing every game. So right now, Astros are -240, Angels are +230. You see those two and you say to yourself, oh, the Angels have great value. +230, of course. Like, why wouldn't we go there? Because the Astros are probably going to win this division. The Astros are going to win this division at -240. This is a no bet. I'm not touching any one of these lines. This is how the division, I think, will end up. Astros 1, Angels 2, Mariners 3, Rangers 4, Athletics 5. Exactly how they laid it out. That's how I think it's going to be. I still think the Angels have a shot at making the playoffs. Absolutely. But Astros are going to win this division. And I even don't think it's that bad of a bet to lay 2.4 units to win a unit. I don't think so either, but I have better bets with the Astros winning the World Series and winning the AL. I think those are my two bets right now.
What about Mattress Mac, though? Because he's on Astros to win the World Series. Have you heard that? I think he's $4 million to win around $46 million or something like that. I'm not sure if it's the $4 million, but I think it's to win 43-ish million.
It's 4 or 5 million to win something close to that. And Mattress Mac might have the worst luck of any bettor I've ever seen in my entire life, which signals to me that he's got to win at some point.
Wow.
He's got to win at some point. But
look at that spin zone.
He's got to win at some point. The Astros right now, 3rd in WRC plus, 3rd in ERA. Verlander is the Cy Young favorite, Peter. Luis Garcia, Framber Valdez create a 1-2-3 punch that matches close to anybody else's 1-2-3 in baseball. The Brewers are probably better. There's probably a couple others that can beat that, but that is very strong. You have your daddy, who's better than David Ortiz.
Dude, like,
Jeremy
that's
Pena.
Crazy. That's crazy talk. That is crazy. I can't just let you keep saying that without. That's crazy talk, Colby. Jordan Alvarez is better than David Ortiz. The David Ortiz that might be one of the clutchest playoff performers of all time. Better than the Jordan Alvarez, who's been in the league for like 3 years. David Ortiz, first ballot Hall of Famer. No, I think Yordan Alvarez at his most greatest peak could be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But you know what we know for sure? David Ortiz is, and they play the same position. It's not like Yordan's giving you more, on the defensive side. He sucks as a left fielder. No, I'm not. I'm the Yankee guy. You're the Red Sox guy. Stop. We're getting over that. No way. There's no fucking way, Colby.
He's only 25. He has so much time. He has so much time.
Better than David Ortiz? You could say, wow, hopefully one day he could be like David Ortiz and the numbers back up and be like, yeah, I think he could be a Hall of Famer. Not he's already better. Like we're ranking DHs all time. Yordan 1, David Ortiz 2, Frank Thomas 3. No, come on.
Jeremy Pena is the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year right now. I grabbed him at plus 1,200 preseason, and now he's the favorite at plus 290. I hope you grabbed that along with me. I actually hedged that Rookie of the Year bet, and I grabbed Julio Rodriguez at plus 450 last week, just as a hedge to come out positive either single way. I think one of those two is going to win the Rookie of the Year. And then Altuve, underratedly, is having the best start to a season he's really ever had, which could go a long way if he's playing like he was in his prime when he was winning MVPs.
So do you think that minus 240 is worth it or no? Because that's what I'm considering. Because I was thinking about it today and I'm like, I do think it's going to hit, but what do I want to do? Do I want to put 2.4 of my units on that? Not really.
You know what you should not do is put your units on minus 240. Put your units on Astros to win the World Series at plus 800, Astros to win the AL at plus 380. Where you can do that is go over to my bookie, use promo code JustBaseball, put down Astros plus 800 to win the World Series, Astros plus 380 to win the AL. Use promo code JustBaseball. You get 50% deposit match up to $1,000, guys. It's a no-brainer. Put your money down, go bet on the Astros, bet on a good team, tail Mattress Mac, and use my bookie to do it.
Not gambling advice, though.
Not gambling advice.
It's not gambling advice.
Not Mattress Mac advice.
Not Mattress Mac advice. Let's move on to the NL West. Right now, it's the Dodgers at minus 210, Padres at plus 310, Giants at plus 475, Rockies at plus 15,000, Arizona Diamondbacks at plus 25,000. Right now, today, May 18th, it is the best day to bet on the Dodgers to win this division. Today is the day. Because you know why? The Dodgers are not going to get any worse than they are right now. The Padres are probably not going to get any better than they are right now. I know they're going to get Fernando Tatis Jr. back, but we've seen the way that the Padres and Blake Snell, but we've seen the way that the Padres have progressed. They are not a better team than the Dodgers. I will stand on my head and say that every day of the week. The Giants are amazing. They're amazing. But I don't think they're going to win this division either. Not every day you're going to get the Dodgers at minus 210 to win their division. And this is the bet. Even though it's 2.1 units, give it to me. I'm already on over 96.5. I doubled down. I'm on over 97.5 wins too. I want more Dodgers. This is the time you're like, oh, the Dodgers have their problems with starting pitching. The offenses don't care. Give it to me. You don't want to bet on it? Fine. Give it to me. Give it to me, Colby.
Give it to me. I put 2 units on them preseason to win the World Series at plus 500. Right now, they're plus 475. To me, that's also a good time to start betting on the Dodgers to win the World Series. Their lineup really hasn't gotten going just yet. And even with the skids they've gone through, are still a top 5 lineup. You know that this team can and will make trades. At some point this season, they are going to acquire something, and it's going to be good, and it's going to improve this team. Blake Treinen also on the IL. That's underrated. He'll come back and bolster this bullpen that's already stacked. They've also been, without Kershaw right now, and he should be back in the next couple of weeks. But even with that, Peter, how many spot starters have the Dodgers had this year? They've had like 5 different spot starters, and they all throw cheddar, and they all put in 5 good innings of work.
Except Ryan Pepiot today, but I was talking on, and I want to ask you this because I know you obviously get into the pitching weeds and you're a great pitching mind. I said Ryan Pepiot has ace stuff. Not that he's an ace, not that he'll perform like an ace, but in terms of when I watch the fastball changeup combination, it looks like ace stuff. What say you when you hear that?
Excuse my dog barking in the background, but I I think Tony Gonzalen actually has the ace stuff between the Ryan Pepiats, and like I compare them a little bit. And Gonzalen was a guy that I thought would have broken out in 2018, 2019, and he's gone through his ups and downs and gone through injuries. But this year, he's really, really proving that he is a top of the rotation arm. I think that's the guy that's going to be so big for this team down the stretch.
No, I wasn't really saying like, oh, Pepiot's going to be big time down the stretch. I was just saying when you watch him, because he might not be that big of a factor yet. His command is just not good. That's the problem. So I don't see him being this major impactor down the line. But I do think he could be a good bullpen piece. And I'm just like maybe next year, maybe 2 years from now, if he hones in that command, I think he could be a really amazing pitcher.
I think he could be a really solid pitcher. He has that really, really firm changeup right now. And if he can learn to command all of his pitches, at least just a little bit better. His walk rate right now of 11% in AAA this year is just too high for a starter to be. That's why Josiah Gray has struggled so much this year, because he walks too many guys. Yeah. And you're just giving up free passes, and that's going to bite you in the butt every single time.
Every single time. Is there anybody else, any other team in the NL West that you consider, like the Padres or the Giants? Like, I'd rather the Giants at plus 475 than the Padres. I'm not going to touch either, but that's what I prefer.
I don't even know if I prefer the Giants. This is kind of similar how it was preseason, I believe.
Yeah.
And
nothing.
No, I'm not. I'm all in on the Dodgers with you, man.
Okay, let's round it off. And with the NL East, we're looking at the Mets at minus 195 favorites. The Braves are plus 310. The Philadelphia Phillies are plus 600. The Miami Marlins are plus 2,000. The Washington Nationals are plus 50,000. I mean, plus 50,000. Like the Nationals, I feel like, do you think the Nationals have a better shot of winning the NL East or the Reds of winning the Central?
Wow.
Because
maybe the Reds.
50,000. I mean, maybe the Reds.
I think the Reds. Legitimately.
That's crazy because of how stacked the NL East is. So what jumps out at you? Because I can't lie, plus 310 on the Braves really does jump out at me. They won the division last year with only 88 games. And the Mets look great this year. I'm not saying that a collapse is imminent, but the Mets will Met. And it's happened before. And if you're going to give me plus 310 on the Atlanta Braves when I know they haven't gotten hot, I know Ronald Acuna Jr. isn't fully healthy yet, I know they're going to go on a run. But the Mets are a better team right now. Objectively, they are a better team. The Braves have not pitched like they did last year. Ian Anderson looked great in his last start, but he can be a bit inconsistent. Charlie Morton, again, aging, can be a bit inconsistent. Max Fried is a dog. No one's doubting him. But then you keep going down the line. Huascar, is in the minors. We're going to see Tucker Davidson. We're recording before the Braves start. I'm excited to see him. Young left-hander, had some success. But Kyle Muller, when he came up, didn't do much. This starting pitching is not as deep as I thought it would be.
I'm intrigued not by the Braves. I actually don't like the Braves after their hangover. I feel like there is a true hangover after one, winning the World Series, but also the comeback that they had at the end of last year. It's like they almost sold all their luck. And now they're scuffling out of the gate, understandably.
You better not tell me Phillies.
No, I'm not going to tell you the Phillies. You know what? The Phillies are intriguing because their lineup is that good, but they don't have any pitching.
They have pitching.
And their defense sucks.
Their defense sucks. They have hitting. They have streaky hitting. They have a lot of hitters who do a lot of the same things.
But I've never liked this Phillies bullpen. They're just so prone to blowing games. The lineup really is that good, but plus 600, they're not going to win this division. It's the Mets. It's the Mets.
It has to be the Mets, most likely. Again, Braves is one of my better value picks, but right now, don't love it because the Mets have proven that they're the best team in this division. So the Braves would have to do something, not miraculous, that's the wrong word, but they would have to outdo current expectations to win this division.
What I posed to Chris the other day is that what if Jacob deGrom really isn't fully healthy to come back in a true starter role and pitch 5 to 6 innings every 5 days? But what if they deployed him in like a 2-inning reliever role where he can stay healthy and be this wipeout high leverage guy that they go to for 2 to 3 innings at a time? That seems Like if you know, I know they're not going to do this, but if you knew that that's what would keep Jacob deGrom healthy, that would be the move.
It would be the move if you knew it, but you don't know it. And he's Jacob deGrom and you're paying him $36 million. You got to use him. You got to use him. It's Jacob deGrom. It's Jacob deGrom. He's the best pitcher on the planet. You use him. So we were talking about all the divisions. That's just to recap a little bit. My favorite bets right now from the divisions. I do think laying 2.1 units to win a unit on the Dodgers is worth it at minus 210. The reason why is I don't think we're going to see that value there for the rest of the season. And if we do, I'm just going to pile on more because they're going to win this division and they're going to win more than 97.5 games, or I will have to find a new apartment because I will be in another tax bracket and the worst tax bracket because I will be lower. But if we're looking, I guess, more across the league, what is your favorite bet there?
Across the league,
for the divisions?
I think it's Dodgers and Astros.
Yeah.
But that seems like guaranteed money to me. And I think actually this is the time for me that you can actually parlay. I think if you want to parlay like a Dodgers and Astros to win their divisions, you'll get close to even odds. And that's the way to go.
I think so too. I think that is the way to go. So let's just look at the current World Series odds for a second. Not for a second. We'll do it for a couple minutes. Dodgers plus 475, Yankees plus 600, Mets are plus 800, Astros plus 800, Blue Jays plus 900. That rounds out the top five. And then we got the Brewers, the Braves, the Padres, the White Sox, the Rays, the Giants, and the Angels, and then the Phillies, and then a bunch of other teams. Give me your best value pick.
Yeah, I was just considering that myself. I mean, just looking at it, the Rays, like we talked about, the Yankees are going to likely win this division, I think, but the Rays have an outside chance of winning that division. But I think their chance of making the playoffs is quite high. I don't think the Rays are a team that is going to turn in an 85 win season. I think they're guaranteed right now 92, 93 wins. That might not be enough to win that division, but it will definitely be enough to make the playoffs. And at plus 1900, if that team can get into the playoffs, I think Shane Baz will be healthy, definitely. But two, does Tyler Glass now make a push to get healthy for the end of the season for a late season playoff run, similar to what Chris Sale did last year for the Red Sox? I don't know how far along Glasnow is right now, but that's something to consider as well.
I remember at the beginning of the season, I think he's out. I think he's just out for this season. That's what we heard at the beginning of the season. Maybe things will change. Like, we don't know, but that's what I remember. At the beginning of the season was like, yeah, he's done. That's why we didn't rank him in our top 10 pitchers list, because we just heard, all right, he's not going to pitch this year. So I'm like, okay, maybe. But you're right. You're not far off because he did injure himself last year. Realistically, he could come back. Doubtful that he does, though, because I think the Rays are going to trade him.
Really? What's that theory? I want to hear that.
Well, he's only got another year of control. And then the Rays, are they going to sign him to a large extension? They would get an incredible return for him. And that, they got plenty of pitching too. I mean, they just switched Drew Rasmussen from this reliever to a starter. They still got Luis Patino, of course, Shane McClanahan, and we could go down.
Shane McClanahan is pitching with like a top 5 pitcher in baseball right now. Physically right now, 2.52 ERA, 2.48 xERA, Peter. He's striking out 38% of batters. That's legit. I believe the highest K rate last year outside of DeGrom at 45% was Corbin Burns around 38 or 39%. So legitimately he's doing ace stuff.
So that's my thinking on the Tyler Glasnow trade. He's also been in rumors already. Like, he was already rumored to the Cardinals. He's been rumored to these places. And doesn't that make all the sense in the world? They would get an enormous haul for him. They already have the prospects, and they just signed Wander Franco to an extension. Tyler Glasnow was a little bit older. I think they might trade him.
I could see it. I could definitely see it because it's the Rays and they don't like to give big contracts, especially to a guy now that definitely has some injury history. Peter, who's your pick right now? Doesn't have to be value, can be a favorite, whoever it is.
Dodgers are going to win the World Series, Colby. I know it's boring. Yeah, it's probably boring. You're hearing this podcast. You're like, what? Dodgers again? Are you serious? Yeah, Dodgers again. Yeah, Dodgers again. They're going to win the whole thing. They're one of the best teams I've ever seen. Even when they're at their worst, they still find ways to win the game 5-4. And it's a shocker whenever they don't cover the spread. The reasoning behind that is because they are elite on every single side of the ball. And now they have Freddie Freeman as that veteran clubhouse presence. You have Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts in a clubhouse with Clayton Kershaw. You got all the minds figured out. You have the Trey Turners. You have we could just keep going.
That's got to be the most fun clubhouse to be in because you're just constantly winning, but you're also around a bunch of chill guys. It seems like all of those guys are relaxed. Justin Turner seems like such a blast to be around. It must be just fun to show up to the ballpark and play for the Dodgers. And if you don't think that has something to do with how they're going to win this year, you're mistaken.
My World Series pick is Dodgers over Rays in 6 games. I had that at the beginning of the season, and I still like it. I have a bet on the Dodgers to win the World Series again at plus 500 with you. That's what we're rolling with. That's what I got. I'm not making any value bets because I'm waiting for the Angels to go on a slide, and then I want to rebet them because I think they could be a team that gets hot and somehow makes it. Just a dream. It's Mike Trout. Narrative makes sense to me. I do think they're talented enough. It's not just the narrative. With Shohei Ohtani, he's heating up. And if Mike Trout stays healthy and Taylor Ward now, this team is fantastic. They have the starting pitching and their bullpen has looked great too. And they have the pedigree of the manager, Joe Madden. He's been there before. I like the Angels if they were to drop to like plus 3,000 or something. That's what I'm going to hop on them.
Don't the Angels have the feel of the 2021 Red Sox where they weren't really I think the Angels were expected to be a good team, but right now they're playing like a top caliber team.
I don't think that.
Hot start, and maybe they'll scuffle a little bit, but even if they scuffle into the playoffs, they're a team that could get lightning hot and win a series or two and make it the World Series. I'm with you on that.
And we're going to keep you updated throughout the entire season. If we make any changes, we're going to hop on the mic and we're going to talk to you on not gambling advice. So that's Colby. I'm Peter. Make sure you check out our description. The links are in there. Link to Prize Picks. You get a full deposit match. My bookie, 50% deposit match. Also join our chalkboard group chat. We're talking baseball every single day and those giving out picks, live bets, all of that in between and just sweating out bets with each other. And it's free to download. So it's a great time. Also make sure you check out our friends at Loop. They're breaking packs, breaking cards like nobody's business. That's in the episode description as well. Follow us on Twitter at gambling_advice. I'm Peter Apple 23 on Twitter. That's Colby_Olson 3. Anything else before we go, Colby?
Nah, that's it, man. Let's hope this is the start of a hot streak.
Cubs money line tonight. We'll see if it hits. With that, thank you, everybody.